Well, hello there. Now today should have been a fun day when I'm editing a finished video, or at least be ready to start editing one, I should say. Now I started trying to film these videos about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Every time I tried going out on a bike, nothing worked. I've been looking for one particular thing. That's all I wanted, was one particular thing. I usually see it all the time. Has it happened? No. However, there's a way around it. So I filmed part 2 and I filmed part 3. Done all those. They worked all right. Yes. However, part 1, the introduction bit, for the love of everything on this heaven and earth, have I been able to do it? No. So you're going to have to put up with this version. And you'll see why I'm annoyed anyway. Let's start at the beginning. The reason I wanted to... Hello? Hello? Breen, you're on the television camera. Yeah, go away. Thank you. The reason I wanted to do this little video was, whenever you drive around Wales, and particularly more mid and north Wales, you see lots of vehicles, and in some cases some graffiti on walls and what have you, with a particular sign on them. And you think, that looks a bit of gobbledygook. What does it mean? And I thought, because October 2025 marks a particular anniversary, I'd do that video for you lovely people for October. So I can't wait any longer. I'm going to get some bad days of weather coming up. So I need to have it done ready for the event. So sometimes you see it slightly differently. Sometimes you don't see the background. Sometimes, excuse my dirty fingernails, I've been doing stuff. You see this. Cofiach Dwyreron. I can never say it when I'm doing camera. When I'm away from the camera, I can say it without any problem. I'm going to give you the lowdown on what this means, why people have got the stickers on there, and just give you a little bit of background. It's a very interesting story, and the main thrust of it goes back 60 years. Although it could be said that the inspiration about the whole subject, although it could be said that the full history about the subject goes back a lot further. So come and join me on what I hope you'll find an interesting, what I hope you'll find is an interesting little journey. So this is where it all began. I'm in a lay-by on the A487, which is behind the camera. And I'm not sure exactly when. I will try and put it up on screen if I can. This was a piece of... Sorry about the noise. You wouldn't think this, would you? Flaming A road, people having the nerve to use it while I'm trying to film. So this was a piece of graffiti that was put on here at the time of the Great Dispute. Remember, Tryweryn. Notice the D, that's part of the Welsh language. They use different initial letters in certain situations. It's called mutation, but don't worry about that. And it was put on this old, I'm guessing it's a barn cottage. And they didn't realise that this would become so amazingly significant. This is where it all started, and that's why you're now seeing this in lots of places. What I suppose we ought to do is go and see what they're trying to remember. So my next stop is about a 3 or 4 hour trip over that way to go and see Tryweryn, or not, as the case may be. Well, we've entered through the gate, And we'll now take a lovely leisurely walk down to the shores of Llyn Celyn. So this is a memorial that was created to the village of Tryweryn because deep down in the lake everything was razed to the ground, and including in that was a chapel. As you can see, some of the people have been buried in here. These will have been residents of the village that has been erased, but not erased from people's memories. Now just imagine they've actually used the stone from the chapel to create the memorial. I think that's particularly fitting. And here we come down to the lake. We'll have a look at the lake again in a minute. What I would say is that this has been sensitively done. A little seating area. I'm going to wander inside. So this is a lovely space. Cofam Elizabeth, 1907 to 1965. Mechenna Watkin Jones. Litherdi, Capel Celyn, Calon Achos Tryweryn. This is beautiful. This commemorates, I'm guessing, people that would have been in the village, buried in the village. And they're being remembered despite everything that's happened. It's quite a remarkable space. So I think it's about time I explained a little bit more. So this in front of us is Llyn Celyn. Underneath the water lies the village of Tryweryn. Excuse my pronunciation yet again. So why is this here? Well, back in the 1950s, I believe, Liverpool Corporation decided they were in need of water. Their systems were antiquated, out of date, and they weren't getting enough water supplies for the ever-growing population. They sought permission from Parliament to try and get some of that water, strangely enough, not from the Lake District just up the road, but from Wales. And they sought to get that water from here. Parliament put through the act to allow it to happen, and it eventually happened. This particular area contained a village. That village was a purely Welsh speaking village. They didn't speak English there because they're quite an isolated community. As you'll see in a minute, there's not a lot here other than farmland. And so with this part of Wales being first language Welsh, and here really just Welsh, it was steeped in Welsh traditions. The chapel, very, very much an important part of Welsh life. And the community was just going to be destroyed. There were lots of protests. However, England won and the village was destroyed and Liverpool gets its water supply. And to this day, this is where Liverpool gets its water supply from. If you know the history of what happened to Wales, and we're going back century upon century, the English have often subjugated the Welsh. And even to the beginning of the last century and into the last century, very much Welsh was regarded as being something that wasn't acceptable. And they weren't allowed to speak Welsh. The children in school weren't taught Welsh. They were forbidden to use it. And when I say forbidden to use it, it was a very strong thing. They would get corporal punishment. They would be subjected to the Welsh knot as well, which you can find out about elsewhere. And this was almost like the straw that broke the camel's back. The people of Wales, and we've got to remember that Aberystwyth, where we were not long ago, when we were looking at the signpost, they have got a university there. So there were people of learning. There were people who could communicate well, much better than me. And what they did was they studied up a protest movement from around here and with all these other people. And they felt completely and utterly sidelined. And what happened? This went ahead. Now in 1965, in October 1965, so that's 60 years ago this month, there's a dam at the far end. The reservoir was full and it was declared open and the water supply to Liverpool started flowing. The graffiti was put out at roughly the same time that I've just shown you. It's asking for this place to be remembered as a symbol of what basically is the overrunning of one society for another. And it was done quite underhanded as far as the people here were concerned. Liverpool say they weren't, these people say they were. In later years, Liverpool have actually said a great wrong was done here. But people wanted this to be remembered. At the opening ceremony, which should have been a nice big fancy affair, it lasted 3 minutes because all the community came down to where the opening ceremony was and basically just made it untenable. They were just banging cymbals out dustbins and making lots of noise, and basically any pomp and ceremony that there should have been was completely destroyed. During the building of this, a group of people who were by some people not liked, even in Wales, they blew up the transformer that was being used for the site. There's quite some stories around that, some of which I do know but I can't tell you, but they're quite funny stories. But they went there, blew up the transformer, and it happened not once, it got destroyed twice in an effort to stop this and make the statement they were against it. This project essentially reignited the Welsh sense of identity. It's reignited their sense of well-being and their pride in their own nationality. If you like, it was quite a stepping stone towards the movement, and that's why you now have equal recognition of Welsh and English language here in Wales. Is why you get all your Welsh road signs that some of the less enlightened people mock, etc. And it's why you get to see those little signs. I only fell over then. And why people put them on the back of the car to demonstrate their allegiance to, their recognition and their pride in their own nation. So there you have it. Llyn hiding the village of Twyweryn, and its creation igniting a huge movement. The unseen consequences of this act of theft and vandalism, for want of a better word, are with us today, and it's why we have the Scottish Parliament, why we have the Welsh Senate, and to be quite honest with you, it's quite a marvellous, the only way I can put it is, as I don't say I'm an immigrant here in Wales, but it's quite a marvellous thing to see the pride in the nation, the fact that they still are accepting of the English language, etc. But they're standing up for themselves. And what caused a bigger problem was the graffiti that I showed you was actually re-graffitied a while ago, a couple of years ago, one springtime day or something. It was damaged. The uproar further revived that sense of pride, that sense of well-being, and the sense of having this place taken away from the nation. So yeah, the Welsh are standing up for themselves here, and they want to remember Twyweryn, and I think they should remember it. It's, as Liverpool say, it was a bad thing they did in hindsight, but there we go. Hope you found it interesting. That's the story. Don't forget, like, subscribe and all that malarkey, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.